I'm Lucas. I'm a morning baker here at Cinnaholic Edgewood, and we're gonna show you some things. It's particularly vegan baking because really I saw what Cinnaholic was doing. Like, most people don't know that the product is vegan because it's so rich and buttery that it makes vegan food more appealing and more accessible. So that really appealed to me. But no, I really didn't have much baking experience before that. Nah, Cinnaholic makes it really easy with the step-by-step instructions.
A friend of mine, as a thank you gift, gave me a Cinnaholic, an old school roll, just the regular vanilla ice frosting. And I'd never heard of Cinnaholic before. I was living in Washington State at the time, but in a very remote area where, it's just a little resort area. No big box stores or anything like that. And anyway, so I ate the roll, and it was the best thing I'd ever tasted, and I bought this bakery.
But yeah, baking, you gotta measure everything out precisely. Yeah, I've been vegan for 20 years. I mean, really, I grew up in a rural area. Like there's a lot of farming. I saw what was happening to animals. Okay. Never was comfortable with it. Would go like fishing. You pull the fish out of the water, and it's like, fighting for its life. I just never was comfortable with that. Yeah, eventually somebody just kind of explained it to me, that you just didn't, if you don't want to use animals, you don't really have to. You could live in a way that you don't exploit animals. So 20 years later, here I am. So this is gonna be a medium batch, so a mix of a small and a medium. We'll come in the morning and assess, how much product we have, what the orders are for the day, to determine how much that you will need for the day. So then we got the butter, we've got the warm milk in there. We're gonna do some water at a temperature of, it's gotta be between 90 and 110 to activate the yeast. Make sure to get my dusty shoes so you know I'm the real deal. Get every last bit off the hook. So again, this is a medium batch, so this is gonna make 3 what we call blobs. You'll see why we call it that. Gotta get a lot of flour on your surface so it doesn't stick. Okay, and I'm gonna divide this up into 3. I would say it takes, it's always an improvement, but a couple of months really to kind of get a feel for it. Right, it's the second one. I gotta come through. It's a little bit of heavy lifting involved. So I know I keep saying it, but this is the fun part now. We're gonna knead it. So just trying to form it into a nice round shape. And then you're good, and you flip it over. You can poke it, springs back up.
Well, I was born and raised in California, in a little beach town called Capitola. When I was in my early 30s, a friend gave me a book called Diet for a New America by John Robbins. And he's, as in Baskin Robbins. He's that Robbins, yeah. He was groomed like his whole life to take over the Baskin Robbins company and everything. And when he went behind the scenes and saw what was happening to make the milk and the cream to make the ice cream, he was like, no, I'm not doing this. And he spent, from that point on, dedicating himself to helping raise awareness about how animals are treated for our food, and wrote this book called Diet for a New America. And I recommend it to this day, even though this is like 35 years ago. It's still a great book, an easy read, and it talks about the basics, you know, the effect that raising animals for food has on our health, on the environment, and on the animals themselves. And I had, I guess, a similar reaction, because once I read that book, I was like, no, I don't want anything to do with that. Thank you very much. So yeah, I've been vegan for over 30 years. And I was looking for a new career, and I had been a jewelry designer for 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I had my own jewelry business, did wholesale manufacturing. In fact, came to Atlanta to do shows here at times to sell to buyers. Even though it was jewelry, it was a vegan jewelry company. In fact, when I wrote my business plan, it turns out I was the first vegan jewelry company. This was 1999.
What makes jewelry not vegan?
That's a really good question. A lot of jewelry has shells, pearls, bone, horn, leather, silk, and it's not labeled, right? So you don't know that, you know, your bracelet is strung on silk, and that's an animal product that we don't want to partake in, right?
So after we knead it, we cover it, and it has to proof at air temperature for 10 minutes. I'll mark this as the first one, so I know which one I did first. Yeah, like, so if something was wrong with the dough, I could tell it wouldn't be aerated. You know, like when I was cutting it and portioning it out, you wouldn't see those little bubbles on the inside. It would just look like a mass. So, but yeah, like once you knead it and you poke it, springs back up, you know it's doing its thing. I'm gonna flour up the work surface. Just a little more flour. Right, now we roll it out. We're just going for that nice rectangular shape. Try to make sure it's at an even depth all the way across, so you get that nice uniform product. Gonna score a little line right here, and this will be the line that we don't want the butter to go over, so that when we roll it up, we can pinch it together. This is the part you can slow down and play some sexy music. Sorry, ladies, I'm taking.
So how hard is it to get into franchising, period?
Oh, wow. Well, it depends on how wealthy you are.
Okay.
Like most things, right? You know, the advantage of a franchise is that it's already a proven business, right? And they already have everything set up and figured out. And I think at my age, and my phase in life also, it was a good fit because I don't have time to reinvent the wheel, right? So it was something I could just step into. And in fact, this Atlanta location was a very good choice as well because it was one of the top stores. I think it was the top store of the franchise in 2024. And so, yeah, the person who I bought it from had owned it for about 8 or 9 years. And so he had built this great, you know, community of customers. And I was able to just kind of step right in and see, like, okay, it's me now, not him. But, and, you know, I've kind of put my own spin on things and to the extent that I can with the franchise, right?
Right.
So now we'll do the, we have a brown sugar and cinnamon mix. This is where a lot of that flavor comes in. About to roll it up. Make sure we don't waste any of this. Yeah, you want to get that nice, like, signature shape, that swirl in there. Try to get it nice and tight. Right. So next step is to pinch it. Pull it over, pinch it together. That's how I see it. I want to get it to look nice and aesthetic. Flip it over, put the seam on the bottom. Right.
Getting into it, it took about a year, you know, and that was buying a franchise that already, a location that already existed. It can take that long, at least, if you're buying a location you're starting your location from scratch. So you have to go and find a location, you have to have it approved, you have to have it built out, and so forth, and then build your presence in that area. So yeah, it depends on a lot of different things, a lot of different factors. We were number 3 in 2025. Yeah, so I feel like I didn't totally run into the ground yet. Yay. Yeah, it's been a juggernaut, you know. It's a lot of hard work and dedication and all those things, but that's what I wanted. You know, a lot of people my age retire and go on a cruise around the world. I think in part I think it's partly my nature. I want to be here for a reason. I want to make the world a better place, as corny as that sounds. And one way that I can do that is through veganism, right? And one of the things that there's a few things that I want to prove with this bakery. You can have a successful business without exploiting or harming animals and the environment and people's health. And that you can have a vegan lifestyle and not be deprived of anything. You've had our rolls, I believe, right? So as you and all the fans on TikTok and everywhere can attest, if we didn't tell you or you didn't find out somehow, and you were a staunch meat eater, you'd never know. You know, putting a positive spin on a positive lifestyle.
I'm gonna butter some trays. So each one of these logs will be 32 if you do it right. We do weigh them all out to a certain amount, so there's a range within an ounce. So if you have them all on the big side, then you might produce a little bit less. If they're all on the small side, you might get a couple more. All right, let's see what we got on the inside. If it's a little too big, we just shave it down to size. Make them a little pretty. All right, then we put them in the fridge, ready to go. We also do seasonal breads, brownies, cookies, things like that. So, got somebody out there? Hey, what's up, man? Good morning.
Oh, my name's Ari. Yeah, so these are all of our frostings. We try and put them in alphabetical order just because it's kind of easier that way. Just to keep track of everything. And peanut butter always goes down here. Just cross-contamination, allergens, making sure everyone's safe. Definitely, I would say cake batter is our more popular one. Of course, our classic vanilla. I definitely think chocolate or caramel also. Those are like some of our top ones that I have to constantly refill. Honestly, our old school, just our classic, as it comes, vanilla frosting, that's people's favorites for sure.
Are you vegan?
I'm not, but I feel like I've kind of been turned away from vegan foods because I was like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna like it, just whatever. But since working here, I've really like tried to hype it up because it is like honestly really good, and you can't taste the difference. It tastes just like every other cinnamon roll, every other baked good, you know. I feel like that's a lot of people's fear with trying vegan food is, oh, it's gonna taste different, it's gonna taste weird, or I don't think I'm gonna like it, but I can confidently say you should give it a little try because it's good. It really is.
Yeah, chocolate covered strawberries. So we melt the chocolate in this little crock pot so that we get like really thick, and then we can just like dip it in there. Then we sell those separately. You can buy a half dozen or a dozen for your sweetheart or yourself. But then we also have a roll. So we take the old school roll, the same roll with the vanilla frosting, and then we take that same chocolate that we dipped the strawberry in, and we drizzle it on top of the, I know, on top of the warm roll. And then we put the chocolate covered strawberry on top of that, and then a dusting of powdered sugar. A lot of people say that there's absentee ownership, and you can do that, absolutely. But you have to then have like a general manager or something. You can't just like let the employees run amok, right? In my case, this is so important to me and who I am and what I'm trying to achieve. I'm not an absentee owner, and I don't have any intentions of being. Now, I've spent the last like 9 or 10 months working in here, like days, nights, double shifts, back to back, all of that. But it's been a great learning experience. Now I know I can train people, I know what to expect, I know what we can do, what would be too much for us to handle. And I haven't actually figured out what that is yet, because I've always, no matter how big of a catering order we get, and we've gotten some really big ones, we've always figured out how to do it. Everybody comes together. I'm really lucky that I have a really good team. That makes a big difference. And so now that I know all that, I'm actually trying to work myself off the schedule, which, by the way, can be like 60 hours a week, easily. And then do more catering, do more sales and marketing. Because that's another really important part of our business. I was on a panel at the Reducitarian Summit a couple months ago. It was a really great gathering of folks. And one of the audience members asked, what can we do to support vegan businesses so they don't go out of business on us left and right? And I said, catering. Think of them for, if you're having a birthday party or a corporate office meeting or whatever. Remember us for those things as well. And that's a huge piece of our business. I'm looking forward to when the weather gets warmer. Please get warmer, it's very cold. We'll start doing more outdoor events, like pop-up events, because as a friend of mine said, all you have to do is get them to taste it. Once it's in their mouth, your work is done. We border Little 5 Points, which is so cool. We get the most interesting people. I assume they're coming from over there. It's so eclectic and diverse over there, and we get folks in here from all walks of life and all countries. We get people in here, they're like doing Google Translate on their phone because they're visiting on business from Spain or Japan or whatever. It's a really vibrant neighborhood. And then of course we are in the Edgewood retail district, which is a great location. We've got a Best Buy and a Target and a Kroger's. And then our bakery is surrounded by a lot of other, we've got a Shane's, we've got a Willie's. So people come for dinner and then we're dessert.